The writer's journey is a long, hard, lonely slog which may or may not lead to great success. Today, I'm going to tell you how to reach the finish line. It's all a matter of mindset and expectations. Welcome to The Edge, where I explore writing, world building, and how to use AI to enhance your creativity. If that sounds like your thing, you're in the right place. Be sure to subscribe for more. Recently, I watched a video by Aperture, How Stoicism Became the World's Greatest Scam. An interesting video and one I highly recommend, especially if you're interested in Stoicism, or if you've had the misfortune of being exposed to the morass of toxic, feeble-minded nonsense known as the manosphere, or any part of hustle culture, and the Aperture video does a great job explaining how that garbage came to be part of our culture, as well as the many, many things that get wrong about Stoicism. But I'm not here to talk about those losers. I'm here to talk about one specific story in that video that stuck with me, a brain worm that's eaten its way into my consciousness and caused me to reflect on writing, the lifestyle and ambitions of writers, our hopes and dreams, and of course, my own journey as a writer. And that's the story of U.S. Vice Admiral James Bond Stockdale. Yes, James Bond really is his name. A fighter pilot in Vietnam, he was shot down and taken prisoner in 1965, held at the Hoa Lo prison, the infamous Hanoi Hilton, for 7.5 years. He was often tortured, led resistance efforts within the prison, and was paraded around for propaganda purposes. After his release, he was asked how he had survived this ordeal, how he'd coped with it, and why some prisoners did not make it out. He responded with what has become known as the Stockdale Paradox. Oh, that's easy. The optimists. They're the ones who said, we're going to be out by Christmas, and Christmas would come, and Christmas would go. Then they'd say, we're going to be out by Easter, and Easter would come, and Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and then it would be Christmas again, and they died of a broken heart. This is a very important lesson. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. So what's that got to do with writing? Everything. Though less gruesome and arduous, writing is a long, lonely, thankless slog, and is a process most people quit. Very few people who start a book ever finish it. Very few people who set out to become writers ever become writers. And over the years, I've seen the Stockdale Paradox in action among every group of would-be writers I've ever met. The writers who come in hot, eager, cocky, and self-sure, their eyes on huge book deals or wild tales of outliers who make millions self-publishing, those writers fail. They rarely finish even a single project, and they never write enough to get good at writing, much less to find success in traditional or self-publishing. The writers who have the mindset of the big break, the 7-figure book deal, the world recognizing their genius, they get none of these things. But the writers who love to write, the writers who tell stories whether or not anyone is reading them, the writers who seek every single day to improve their craft and become better writers, these are the people who eventually find success, the ones who are seen and read and published, and who eventually make their living from their writing. And that's important for you to understand. Understand why you write. If it's for fame, glory, riches, sorry, bub, you're in the wrong business. If it's to tell the best story you can, to share your thoughts and dreams, if it's because you can't not write, then writing is for you. You'll see it through to the end. You'll succeed regardless of how much or how little external validation you receive. The people who write to write will make it. They will reach the finish line. The people who write for external reasons, validation, attention, money, they won't. So if you're a writer, if this is who you are, if this is what you're going to devote your life to doing, then do it. Write. Focus on the writing. Focus on getting better. Focus on working on it every day. Focus on finishing the projects you start, and plan to do this for the rest of your life. Day in, day out. Don't focus on the other things. Don't focus on the externalities. Remember the Stockdale Paradox. Remember the mindset of those who survived, and avoid the mindset of those who did not. And understand, I am not saying this to be pedantic. I'm saying this because I have made this mistake. I've lived this. Not the prison camp part, no, the giving up because I had the wrong mindset part. And it's not good. Twice in my life, I've given up, and in total, I've lost 15 years. 15 years I could have been writing books. 15 years I could have gotten really good at this. 15 years I could have been growing an audience. The first time, it was because nothing happened fast. This occurred early in my life as a writer when I didn't know how to write and I didn't know anything about publishing. At that time, I wrote terrible short stories and submitted them to magazines fully expecting them to get published. The process took forever, and after about a dozen rejections, I pivoted to other things. This impatience cost me 5 years. That's how long it was before I started writing again. Much later, it happened again. Much worse this time. I'd learned how to write, how to tell solid, engaging stories. I'd had several short stories published, and I'd written 3 books and was working on a 4th. Now, my first 2 books are bad. They'll never be seen by another human being. But my 3rd book is good. Not great, not award-winning, but it's a good book. Yet it was rejected by a publisher that had given me notes, asked me for a rewrite, given me very positive feedback. A publisher I had a personal connection with and who I really expected would buy it. But no, after months of waiting, my work, my best work up to that moment, was rejected. I'm afraid I'm going to pass on this one. Words agonizingly seared into my very soul. This was 2 years after finishing this book. 2 years of marketing, 2 years of networking, 2 years of rejections, 2 years of my friends and family asking, when is that book coming out? 2 years of being certain that at any moment I'd land a contract and would finally be able to write full time. It broke my heart. I gave up completely. Stopped right in the middle of another book I was working on and did not write another word of fiction for over a decade. So when I say you have to love the day-to-day process and cannot fixate on the light at the end of the tunnel, I know this to be true because I've lived it. I've made that mistake. And it cost me my career as a writer. 15 years of my life during which I did not write. 15 years I would love to have back. Now I'm old. I'm thinking about retirement. I still write because I enjoy it. It's what I do. It's how I express myself. It's how I make sense of the world. But I write because I love to write, not because I'm hoping to be discovered or land a 7-figure contract. No more fairy tales and high expectations, just me living my life, writing because that's what I love to do. And maybe I can keep you clowns from making the same stupid mistakes I made. So if you made it this far, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. That's how YouTube knows you got something out of this video, and it really helps the channel. And I would love to hear about your experiences as a writer, the things that have set you back, the things that you've done to keep yourself motivated and keep going even when the times get tough. Tell us about it. Share it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Now get out there and write because it's what you love to do.